ladies. Oh my gosh, it's so nice you're all making friends with each other. How are you all? Can you wave if you can hear me? Hi. So, wow, what an adventure. I'm really excited about today's Zoom, but just before we get started, I'm going to share with you a couple of little things. So up until the early hours of this morning, I was stuck in Iceland, and my husband decided that it was his birthday a couple of weeks ago, and decided that he would do a little surprise. We didn't do anything for each other for Christmas, so we'd do literally a weekend, go on a Friday, come back on a Sunday, try and see the Northern Lights. And the word try is a really, really good one. I feel like I've had a weekend with Bear Grylls. I've stayed in a tent in the middle of the forest in the freezing snow with 80-mile-an-hour winds, with all the flights cancelled because nobody could get in and out. As you can imagine, I'm not the most athletic of people, so I spent most of the weekend with the snow in my boots, thinking, wow, what have I done to deserve this? So I cannot tell you how happy I am to see you all this morning. You're the best thing that I've seen all day. So in fact, you're the best thing I've seen since Friday. So welcome. So what we are going to do is do a little class on Hillside, Hideaway. But before we get started, I just want to talk through a couple of the finished samples that I've got, because we never get the chance to do this properly on TV. And this one is made in one of Mel's tins. Now, I'm just going to lift up this panel because it's been only stuck at the top so that I can do this. And you can see here all the little layers, and the layers are actually just on foam. So they've been put on foam and then lifted to give us that detail. And then the frame goes over the top, and then this side is completely flat, and it still gives us that dimension. But what I absolutely love about it is this is almost like going into a little hillside, a valley, and seeing all the houses dotted about, and then really into the depth of the design. But on this side, the flowers just actually really jump out, and we're looking at, it's almost like these are 200 meters apart. They're so beautifully dimensional. And when you take a camera and you're taking photographs, what you actually see is the camera will focus on the thing that's closest to it. And so you get this really in focus, and then gradually it all fades away, which lends itself to this beautiful faded background. So aesthetically, there are so many design elements that make this collection work. So that was the first one I wanted to talk about. The second one is this one. And this is just a regular stepper. It's landscape rather than portrait. We've used the cut-ins, these cut-in dies, these ones, to actually cut into the background, and then put some foam or silicone behind it, so that what you get is you get this shadow that appears, and it's you can make it bigger by just pulling this slightly apart. So you'll notice that there's a little bit of a gap here, and that's where the top panel has just been pulled very slightly apart to create this gap, and then it allows us to then tuck in all the different elements that we want to. So we're creating that little hillside again with all the elements tucked in. And then to the front of it, again, with that extra dimension, we've got our gate, our wall, the flowers, and then this lovely trailing, the purples that we've got there, the violets, and just giving us those extra layers of dimension. But if this was completely flat, it would not have the same effect. So that actually is adding to the design. So what we're trying to do now with Two Red Robins is find ways of you being able to learn more about how you can design as you go along. And not just design, but work out where we can take colour and we can take dimension. And when we look at the design that I'm going to be working with, which is this sort of lovely soft pink design, and you can see why I chose the glow, because what a difference that makes when you put the round viewfinder over the top. It really starts to bring all of those shades together. And then, of course, I just want to share this one with you. So this one is using the new dye that we introduced with this collection, which is the one that allows us to create our concertina edges. And then lots and lots of layers. And what makes this one interesting is that the back panel has been printed 3 times. So once for the front, and then the design marries up. So if you look up in this top corner, you can see how those trees are actually lined up. Then there's another panel just here. So if I pop my fingers in there, that one has also been cut so that we can cut into it multiple times to be able to give ourselves the dimension. And then, of course, the back panel. So you need the scene that you choose to be cut 3 times to be able to get this dimensional layering. And what a fabulous way of creating cards and giving all the extra shape. And then, of course, we've got the little gate leading through into that lovely walkway. And then, of course, the signpost and the flowers just finishing it all off. So when this kit was being designed, one of the things that was thought through was the colourways of our flowers. So making sure that these colourways lent themselves to having all of this extra colour and the shade. Very, very important, and a challenging one for us is always how we get the greens to work, because there are so many shades of green that sometimes you can find that they just clash, but this way we've got them so that they really do work. And then what we did for you on the website was we put some extra colourways so that if you did want to go more traditional, then they're absolutely an option. So I'm just going to build a couple of scenes on here and talk through why I'm building what I'm building, and then I've got some more demonstrations for you to go through in a bit more detail. So first of all, I'm just going to spread out all my little die cuts because I've got lots of them. So if anybody's got any questions, please do pop them in the chat, and we'll get to them as quick as we can. And then the other thing that I've done is I actually am looking at how I decoupage elements of the design before I fit them on. So what I'm starting to do now is I'm spending quite a bit of time actually doing those little bits of decoupage, and all those tiny pieces that are here in this bag I would be using when I'm making special cards, because I want to get the luxury look and feel to everything that we're doing, and that's something that we can do with our designs. Then I've got the purple flowers, which you can see. And look at how that glow just lends itself to that purple. It's just absolutely stunning. And the little houses. So I'll come on to that in a second. I'll just get these out because it will make a difference having them out. Save us a bit of time in a few minutes. So I'm just going to get these pieces here. Okay, so if I was making a birthday card, just a general everyday birthday card, this would be a fabulous one to work with. So first of all, what I've got here are the elements that I need just to be able to create that card. I'm just going to ask the lovely Andrew if he will get Amanda to bring me the guillotine, because I did forget to bring it in with me. So I'm just going to move that slightly and move that cup of tea before I spill it. Let me get these out of the way as well, and that. Okay, so, right, so what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm just going to work with these two. Oh, I'll do it twice because I want to show you what happens if you were to do it with the black and white. And look at how suddenly this takes on a whole different look. So we've got the black and white, we're making it really sort of come together, but you wouldn't have ever thought that the black and white background could make this look so clever. And if I just take these elements, where's the other one gone? I've got one more little piece, there we go. Here, if you were using the black and white, that just lends itself to us being able to just fill in these little gaps. So we want this so that it's fuller just here. But look at how that black and white, you think of it and you look at it and think, wow, that really isn't going to work. And then you put the scene in it and it really brings the whole thing to life. So it's very clever how something that is as simple as this can actually make the whole thing work. Love the fact that we can do that, and I wanted to bring these in, and that was one of the reasons that I put these in this collection, because I didn't want it to distract from everything else that we'd got in the story. So when I'm starting and I'm designing a card for the first time, and I've been working on the cards that we've got for our Sandown workshop and looking at what they look like and what we need to do for those. And so I start off with all my die cuts, literally all sort of positioned so that I've got everything where I think I'm going to need it. And before I stick it down, then I take a photograph of it using my phone. And then using that, I then build up the rest of the design. So looking at this, thinking, do I want all three houses there or would I want less? Interestingly, I chose to put the larger one in the middle rather than to the front. And I just want to show you the difference that makes, because it changes the story completely when you bring that into the front. Or I do this. This now looks like a bigger house because it's there. It's that little bit further back and you've got that bit of extra detail. But we're just going to have these two little cottages just together, just here. And then I'm going to take our little small gate. We're going to definitely have our signpost because that's where we're going to put our birthday message, is going to go on there. So I'm just going to lift that up. I'm going to bring the detail of those flowers round. I need to bring in my gates, my hedges. Let's just have a look and see how this is going to work. So I think we're going to lift that one out because it's not big enough. So I start literally looking at the elements of it and how it's all coming together and whether I've got all the elements in the right place. Do I like the look of it? Am I happy with the balance of the design? What else could I be doing to make this look more designed, more considered with what I'm doing? So you can see how just bringing in that little bit of brickwork there and the gate. Let's move those houses just up a little bit so you can see them in the background. I've now created this little story, and it would be obvious to put the gateway in the middle, but that isn't the way that this. I think this looks aesthetically much more interesting if we don't do that. And then to balance the design, I would bring in just a couple of these little flowers, just finishing off the detail here. And then we just need let's get that one back on there. So we just need to have a look at the ferns that we've got, and we could put a couple of these in. And the small one's really important here because that little bit of the story just finishes off the design. So you can see these little tiny ones I would put in and have those in, just finishing off that part of the design. So I've got one combination that I've got there, which I'm really liking. I'm going to move these flowers out of the way and show you the difference we would get if we change them and we bring in another story. And I'm going to bring in the daffodils and just show you what happens here. So those daffodils would go behind the fence, but then I bring them to the front as well. And I bring this, so let's get that out of the way. This all moves along, so we don't need the purple. But we will still use the elements from the ferns. We'll take our post up so it's much higher. This will come just here, and that fence will come a little bit to the side. So just layering this up so that we're getting that dimension. And again, totally different look from having the purple flowers, but looking really designed and together. And then finally, I want to show you the third one that I would do. And this one, we would take these from here completely. We'd bring our ferns over the other side. So these would go up here. And these elements. Our little houses, still in that order. We'd bring the little pieces of fern over to this side, and then I would bring a little bit more of my daisy to here. And let me just move those out of the way so you can see what that looks like. So we've captured the design. But what makes this work really well is that glow, because your eye is being drawn from the harsh edge of the white past the soft glow into the image that we've got here, and that is making all the difference. And I'm just going to move the house out so that we've just got one house in there, and you can see what a difference that makes. It loses something immediately by not having our neighbours there. Even if you only see a little bit of the rooftop, it adds something to the design. Right, so when we get that guillotine, which will be any time now, I'm sure, I'm going to cut this and assemble it and show you what we're going to do. While we're just waiting for that, I'm just going to put this to one side, and I'm going to work on one of the other projects that I've already got ready for you and let you see what we're going to be doing. So this is quite a large card, and there are occasions where we do want to have quite large projects. So what I've got is everything's already pre-done. So you know we've already talked through the elements of design and how important they are and what they do. And I'm just going to work with this as, this would be the kind of card that we would have in the office if we were doing somebody's big birthday and we wanted to all sign it. Or you want to be the one that stands out on the mantelpiece, or you want to be the one that you can charge an extra £1 for when you're selling your cards. So that's what we've got here. Now I've taken all the tape off the back and just want to show you how I line this up. So a lot of people leave a piece of tape and then actually, before they line it up, and take little elements of it out. I'm just going to show you. So what I've just done at the moment is by eye, I've looked at how much border I've got at the top and the bottom. I'm now going to check the sides so that the side is exactly the same. And I always line up against the cut edge first, because that's the one that is harder to disguise if it's wonky. So lining up to that edge, laying down my side, and then leaving that little bit of detail that we've got there. So I've lined up to this cut edge just there. I've now got my panelled piece. I've already got the tape on, but remember what we said about being able to get depth to this. So what we do here is, and this is a great little tip for you at home. So we're going to put this so that I'm just making sure it's the right way up. Yep, it is. So I'm going to put some tape there, tape there. I'm not going all the way to the edges, and I'm going to go there with my tape. So let's get the back off. And we get these pieces ready. And again, here, here, here. Can't believe that we're already almost at the end of January. I hope you guys, some of you are able to get to Sandown. It's going to be a pretty exciting weekend. So again, I'm lining it up to the top, checking the borders, top and bottom. Just check that once more. So I'm about there. Okay. Right, and then I'm going to let this just fall down so that it should go level, which it does, and then we need to press these panels down. So these are the ones that are giving us that extra dimension. So you can see I've lifted here and here, okay? Right, now I've got a lot of pieces. I've got a little thank you and a sentiment. So this would be, can be going anywhere that we feel we want to be able to pop the design. I've got my little hills and my brickwork. And again, this can be extended by literally adding in more elements of the design. And you can see what I've done here is I've taken the bottom of it to both pieces and it's just been snipped into so it looks like it overlays properly. It's all part of that design. Our Hillside Hideaway will go into the little panel that I've got here. I've got my gate, which is my gateway into the hillside, can go here, or I can move this one off and it goes here. I can move that bit of the gate fence. So those two pieces are together like this. And then the little houses. Now, so we tuck them in and I can really sort of get them inside. And you can see how it now looks like we are literally walking through, I mean, for me, the Peak District into this little hamlet of houses, and they're there ready for us to be able to create our design. And if just by lifting this part of the panel up, you get such a different look. Let me just show you what it would look like if I just stuck these on. There is no comparison in terms of design. This is so much more aesthetically pleasing, and it's so much cleverer for you to be able to do this, to be able to put those elements just there. And look at that. I absolutely love what we've got. Now, so we've got to think about what we would do for flowers when we've got the poppies as a background. Probably doesn't need very much, but you could go with the purples because they lend themselves to this sort of the blue that we've got here, or cut out just a few of the daisy heads. And these daisy heads could go where we've got our sentiment. Let's pop, when we're going to go this way. And we just put the daisies round the side of the sentiment. So we've got a little bit of colour and floral just going on there to add that little bit of extra detail. I don't think we need that one. Do we need that one? I'm just going to pop that one there. So get that extra bit of balance. So you can see how you can layer it up, create the design, not using lots and lots of cuts, but we've still got that look and feel and the depth and the way that this just lends itself going into the background. So the little bit of red for the matte layer has been used to be able to accent the poppies. The detail that we've got in the design, the white's picking up the white on the label, and it's also the white in the Hillside Hideaway. And then we've got the whole story coming through with the gate and the actual fence that you've got. And it really then is bringing that design together. Okay, so I'm not going to stick anything today because I'm going to stick as little as possible because I want to try and get through as many of these as I possibly can. Right, I've got another one for you here. Now, this one isn't as colourful. It's much more masculine in the look and feel. But again, I think it's worth us having a look at what we could do as an option for this. So for this one, we've got our the brown as the main background, and then chosen a backing paper. And this was from one of the first sets of papers that we did. And it gives you that depth of detail of design. And then I've got the panel that we've cut out, and then the detail of putting back in the rest of the picture. So this is one size bigger than this one, and this one is exactly the size that's come out. So you know that this is going to marry up, but we need to get some definition between the two sizes. So to do that, I need to line these two pieces up so the pattern matches on the outside edge, then go into my design and line it up like that. So I've got all of those elements together. Now, so this would be one I would have made. I'd have done something like this. My granddad, he'd have loved it. I'm going to put my sentiment to, obviously it would go to the side, but how about we pop the sentiment right in the middle? So we are completely changing up what you would expect to do with this card. And then these become my embellishments. So we're putting the little houses to the bottom. It's almost like you've bought yourself a little embellishment topper, and these elements go together. And we've got our little fence here with the gate, the little door which would go through here. Let's bring these down a little. Part of the foliage which needs to be changed, so it goes that way. So I've moved them round because this one's very straight, so it's following the straightness of the actual card, whereas this one's got a little bit more dimension. I would just layer up my wall, or put a little bit more of the wall just to the side here. So let's just do that. Actually, just do it properly. So I'm going to just, snip through where the little pips are. So there we go. So we'll put that piece here. The gate comes to the bottom, and this comes to here. So I want to do a whole class on using your dies to make toppers, so little embellishments. Then I've got a couple more pieces of foliage that are going to just dot in, that are going to tuck just like this. So just there. And then the little ones which lend themselves just here. And finally, just snipping into this one. I'm going to tuck that in there. So we've got a really masculine card that is, a lovely message just to say, I miss you, I love you, wish I could see you next weekend. And what you've got is the embellishment has been created for the bottom of the design. So something completely different to what we've been doing with Two Red Robins, but really effective. I'm just going to lift all of this out of the way so that you can see what this looks like as a small corner and an embellishment. I'll put my little Hillside Hideaway up there and take this into here. You can see what a simple card we could be creating if I were to make this into a DL. And so I'm just so that you can see what that would look like. Let me just take my piece of cardstock off and just make that into, just move this piece so it comes up here. And I'm just going to make that into my DL card. And I've created something completely different. So we're going from dimensional projects like this one to really sort of in the distance projects to something that's really quite small and delicate and detailed, but a great guy's card. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that one to one side, and I want to just go back to this because I want to show you how I would turn these two pieces of card actually into the card blank itself. So the first thing that I would do is I've got both pieces of card, and I would decide where I want the glow. So I've got that glow in position, and I'm ready to be able to make that first cut. So and I'm hoping you can just see that I've got a little bit of pink at this top edge. I'm going to get it in position, and then I'm just going to slide that over so that both pieces of card are butted up to this top edge, and then cutting it. If your guillotine won't go through both pieces at once, just get it to just catch this edge enough to score it so that you can take both pieces out and you know where the cut is. Okay, so that's the first cut that we need. The second one, we're going to repeat the same thing. So I'm pushing both of these up. I'm making sure that the glow is where I want it to be. I want a small border of the this glow showing when I've finished. And I'm looking at how much of what depth I've got here and here. So you can see that I've got the same pink border there as I have on this side. So I'm now going to cut this one. Right, now we take this piece and we trim the white off on both sides. And then I need to take off this amount of each of the sides of this panel. So just going to double check which ones are my sides and which ones are my top, because I'm going to make sure that I get this right. Where's my base? It's there, I think. Yep, there we are. So it's the sides that need the trimming, so it fits perfectly at the moment. So I'm going to come into here and I'm going to take off that piece. And I am somebody who does not like measuring. I'm just, this for me is really important, because not being able to measure I think makes card making so much easier. So now you can see I've got a border all the way round and I've got my glow in the middle, and I didn't have to measure anything. So we're now ready to put this piece together. If you're going to be a while you're working, then make sure that you make it easy for yourself and put a little dot at the top and a little dot on there, so you know that goes like that. Okay, but we're going to work straight away, so I can take my tape and pop this together. And I'm just going to show you a little thing. If you're making cards for a living and you want to make them to be really professional, then one of the things that we would try to do would be, I need to see where I can show you this. I can show it here. Okay, we would be making sure that we miter the corners. And if I'm doing a card as a commission for somebody, I would always do this. I'm being a bit lazy with this demo, but because I'm using speed. But what you do is you cut both pieces, then you will end up with a little piece underneath, which you won't have stuck down, so that piece lifts. And then when you then bring this together, it looks so much neater because you've actually mitered the corner. And you can see that compared to these corners is significant. Sorry, Andrew, I didn't hear you then. He just said to me, can I remember which one's the top? That's a good point, actually. Probably not. It's there. Look, there it is. So, right, so we're going to line that up. Oh, well, hi everybody. I'm sorry about that little technical hitch. So I'm back with you now. So what I've done is you saw me put the tape on the foam tape on the panel and line that up. So I've got this lined up together. And now I've taken one of the pieces we cut from the side and one of the panels, and I've trimmed this one so that it sits inside here like this. So that's just going to sit inside. And the spare part of the white will go on either end, and that should just hang over the sides. Now, what I'm going to do now is actually fold this in half. And to fold it in half, because this is a printed piece, depending on your printer, it will determine how your print paper and the paper that you've used, it may determine whether or not you get a nice clean crease or you end up with it slightly cracking. I've got mine to crease quite cleanly, but I've just done that manually without actually anything else. Now, so the next part of this is we're just gonna trim that piece level just there, and trim this piece level just here, and this is going to become the stand that's going to go on the back of the card. But if we do this, because it's quite a wide card, that will just literally splay open. So what we do is you take either the other piece of card, which we can work with, and we're just going to fold that into a little mountain fold. And I've made this just 6 centimetres. So I've used a 12 centimetre piece of card, and that's been folded in half. And then this piece will go inside, and the maximum that can splay out is like that. Okay, so what we do now, we'll take some tape and we put it on the outer sides of here. So this is just another way of creating a stand for your card, but it's a quick and easy one. And what I like about this particular design is, A, it complements the front of the card because you've got the cardstock all matching. Secondly, it doesn't use any more than the 2 pieces of card that you were working with originally. And it's very, very quick to do. So just close that up. And that's created our card panel that we need like that. Obviously, it'll go flat to go on the front of the card, but what we do need to do is make sure that we put the tape down the full length of it on both sides. And this bit is quite important, because if you don't do this, it actually doesn't hold up as well as we would want. And there are lots of different stands that you can do that have got sort of like little concertinas in the middle and things like that. But this one is so simple, it's quick, and it really is effective. I'm just checking that any paper of the transfer tape's on the bottom. Just making sure that I've got the bottom of my card. And then, to get it in the centre, using my glass cutting mat, I know that 15 is in the middle, or even easier, if I come to the side, I've got 0 in the middle there, and I'm up to 10 on that side and 10 on that side. So I know that if I put this in here and I go from 2 to 2, that's going to be sitting in the middle. And then, so that's our back. That's what it looks like from the side. So it's very neat, and it's incredibly sturdy when it comes to making your card. So quick little idea for you of how to make that card back and make it so that it's all really nice and neat. That folds flat to go in the envelope, really perfect, gives us a good finish. Right, let's use this now to make another project that we've got, and I'm just going to build another design for you. I'm going to go into the samples that I've already got that are here and ready. So just picking out another one that I've got here. So got some extra elements. Right, and I think I'm going to use the green. Okay, so I'm just going to cheat this and put my square in, and I've got a little bit of a border. Let's make it so it's just at the top and it's just at the bottom. I'm going to hang these elements around here. I've also then got some more pieces that I can build up this design with. So I want to fill the centre of the card. So we would have cut this green out to fill the centre of this design, but I'm using these elements. I just need all of my flowers. So here we go. I'm just going to check that I've still got my sentiment that I need for this, which is, where have you gone? Where have you gone? I can use this one, I think. Yeah. Okay, right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to build our wreath. So to stop this piece sliding around, I'm just going to put a bit of tape underneath it because I want to just hold it in place. So I'm going to line this in here. So we would have had a circle with a piece of green card behind it, but I've actually used the design I've got and just covered it over. Right, so when you're building wreaths, you've got all the different design elements that you've got here, and these are all different sizes. So we've got to think about what we want to do with the sizes of the flowers and filling in all the gaps that we've got. So first of all, I've got 2 of the daffodils, and these are quite large designs. Now, if I were to put these up straight and then build the rest of my wreath around it, these are going to look out of place, and they're really not going to look like they're in the right dimension. So what we're going to do here, we're going to trim down past this leaf and take out that leaf like that. And we're going to take it out all the way round just here, there, past that, so that I've got that daffodil on its own, or the daffodils on its own. I'm going to take out this element of it so that it's not too straight. And I'm just going to leave a couple of those little flowers there. And I'm going to take off this one there. So I've made it much smaller, much more condensed. Now I need to do the same thing with the other side. So we're going to go down past the leaf, round our daffodil, the actual flower itself, round here, keeping that leaf off, go back up here, there. We're going to, take out these flowers here, there, and I'm just going to reduce that piece there too. So I've got 2 sets of daffodils. I'm going to just think about where these might go. So I'm just going to pop those there. These ones, I'm going to cut these little petals off. Now the shape that I'm looking for in my head when I'm doing these is I'm looking at how I'm creating my crescent. And I'm not going to worry that I've just cut those little bits of petal off, because what I'll be doing is going back into the design and looking at what else I can put in and how I can build this up. And I'm just going to show you a little cheat. So let's get rid of that. So as we're working, I'm going to go round here with my tape. So I'm going all the way round, just letting it drop just inside the aperture. This is going to be where we'll start to build the flowers up, and we'll go right in round here. And don't forget, everybody, you can watch this back as many times as you like. So that's the start of it. We're going to be, so I've done one of my flowers. I need to now do another one. So we're going to put you just there. So then this one, I'm going to take out those little bits that are just there. Get you there, and then I'm going to take out that petal again. Let's go get some shape and that one is going to go just there. I'm not going to push that down because I want to put some more of these little daisies in and fill some gaps, but in fact we'll do some of the little violets there. Let's put you over the top actually. Right, so we've got those. I'm going to put the daffodils in next. So I'm going to take you here, and this one probably a little bit higher up. Let's go there, and you're going to go there. Okay, right, now these pieces need cutting into because they would look too chunky if I were building this up. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cut into it, into both elements of the design. There. So I've made that a little bit more delicate. And that's going to go just there. I've got another one of these where so again, I'm going to go into this part of the flower, just there. And you're going to go just there. You can see now how these flowers are going to need to come off. Let's take you off. So you can see how it's now starting to look more together. We're going to need our ferns. They're going to have to be tucked in because we're going to want some greenery in amongst all of this. But what else have I got missing? I need some more daisies. So let's get those in amongst the little elements that we've got here. So you're going to go in there. We'll pop you in there, and let's get it angled there. We need a little bit of our lilac up here. We need a little bit more of that lilac. Let me just get a piece that's aesthetically and going in the right direction. So we'll take you. We'll go here. So look at how we've created that wreath now, and it's all starting to come together. I'm going to take off these little ones here because I want these to actually come into the inside. So to make that happen, I'm just going to see if I've got my wet glue, which is here. And a tool, which we'll do. So we're going to go under here and tuck in. We'll go into the next one, just there, and tuck in. So let those go into there. I've got another one, so that one's going to go under here and also tuck in. So you can see how we're getting these little flowers just literally coming together. We're going to put you, I think you can go there. So I'm going to go in there and tuck you under. So just take that bit of silicone with me, or glue gel, and tuck you in there. Get you out. So we've got that dimension. I've got some of these little bells that I can use, and we're putting these down here. So we've got the wreath, but I'm creating a heavier area around just here because we want to fill in this part of the centre. I'm going to go in with the daisies and pop that in. Who would have ever thought that behind here we would have a scene? You would never think it, would you? And then this one, it's going to go under there. Whoops, put that. Got a bit too much glue on that. Just get rid of that glue on my tweezers so I can tease this around and pull that back. There we go. We need these, which we cut off earlier and are part of the design. So we've got the other greens coming in. Getting some really nice depth to this design now. It's starting to look very, very detailed around this edge. Want to put my daisies and get some depth to them. So I've got those. My little house is going to tuck in just here, like that. The little gate is going to go to the front, just there. So I'm building up my story. My little post tucks in just there. And I've got some stone somewhere. Where's my stone gone? It's there. Got a little bit of stone. It's going to go here. Just there. And the other bit of stone, which I just need to trim. There we get that finished. Is going to go here. So I've got the little gateway into the house, which we've got. And actually what I'm going to do is I don't like that, so I'm going to swap these two pieces round. I'm going to pop that one there. I think that looks better. And turn this one to go there, like that. So that's the dimension that I want. And then we've got some little tiny flowers, and we need to get all this depth on here to finish off this design. So I'm going to pop that one. Oops, let's get you in. Over there, like that, with that over the top. I've got some little tiny flowers that are part of the design, so I can tuck those in. Can use these. These are the ones that are just going to give us that finishing touch to this little story that's going on round here. I've got, there's a few more little sprigs that I can be using, so I can put those there. I've got a last little piece of fern, which is quite a large piece, but I think it's perfect. It's going to go under here. So when I was talking to you about making little toppers, what we've done is we've created a wreath, but then we've also added a little topper corner just here. And I need just a couple more flowers to finish this off. And I think I need to put those there. We're almost done finishing this corner. And I've got a tiny little bit to go just there. And then our sentiment is going to go just there. So you've got all the elements to create a beautiful card with your wreath. And I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's just put this on so we can stand it up and let you see that, the finishing touch. And this would make a beautiful thank you card, or just to say. So there we go. So we've used the pink from the frame. We've still got the stand at the back, and we've created our wreath with a little story in the bottom corner. That's what Hillside Hideaway is all about. Okay, everybody, right, we've got some amazing deals on the website at the moment, so please don't miss out on any of those, because wow, it's just that time of year where there's some fab stuff going on. We're going to be at Sandown in a couple of days' time. Hope you can make it. And until then, anybody who's going to be in our class later on today, I will see you then. Otherwise, take care, everybody, and stay safe and warm.